But really, all we're talking about with being psychic is, and here's the one thing I really wanted to share was, I'm just talking about my sensitivity as a soul, as you will, a light being, as an energy being. Don't ask me all the ins and outs about that, but this, in our true feelings, we already know that.
Wherever you are in the world, welcome back to another episode of Enthusiastically Spiritual. I'm your host, Teresa, and today this is an episode with Teresa Shantz with TNT SpiritWorks called What's Up Spiritually? And this is going to be a monthly episode that we're going to do in regards to just kind of tuning into what's going on out in the world, what's going on with people, and kind of giving some insights on how we can really maneuver through all that we're going through. So welcome, Tom.
Thank you, Teresa. It's great to be here.
Great to be here in the midst of lots going on in the world right now, which I'm sure everyone is aware of.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot going on in the world. There always is, there always has been, and there probably will be for quite a while.
Change is constant, right?
That's right.
So the topic I want to really kind of discuss is about boundaries. And the thing that I've noticed out in some people I've talked to recently, and also in myself, is that as things are shifting energetically, and we're all shifting, and we're all moving through different levels of consciousness, the people around us are having difficulty with who we are now and who we were then and where our energy's at. So I know for myself that I've definitely had that happening and going on, for my personal aspect of myself and other relationships. And so I want to talk a bit about how to maneuver through these times and your energy and others' energy around boundaries. So what would you like to share about that, Tom?
Well, the thing that comes to me first is that when I start to change and, grow spiritually, and all that means for me is I begin to shed old concepts, old habits, and particularly in how I think about things, or not allowing the fear to move in on me or the stress to move in on me. And a lot of times that stress or that fear, I'm not even aware that it moves in until all of a sudden I get to this point of my sensitivity where I go, oh, I'm a little bit under pressure as she says this to me, or as somebody said that, or as this is happening. And so as we peel the layers of the onion, you might say, of our spiritual growth as we're growing spiritually, and then the whole point of that is life just gets better and smoother, and I rediscover the real me. So as that happens, as those shifts happen, people around us get uncomfortable. And they want to keep us in their little box of how they know how to deal with us. And they want us to play their games of not feeling secure. And you can't really blame them because they have nothing yet to replace it with. So it takes a bit of courage and fortitude or stamina, whatever you want to call it. It's not that hard, but it takes a conscious decision to want to move forward, because what I really want to say is lately I've been taking that as a positive sign that I'm moving forward when those folks around me are beginning to arc up, as we used to say in Australia, or get uncomfortable. So they look for ways to try to pull me back into my old way of thinking. They want me as fearful as they are.
Yeah, and I think the word that came up when you're saying that is secure. So if someone is insecure with what they're feeling inside, and you're secure for where you're at in your journey, they're going to have issue with that because they're not feeling exactly what I'm feeling or what you might be feeling, listeners. And so it's really important to understand that we're all, which I've said so many times as podcasts, but we're all on unique journeys. We're all having our own unique experiences. But of course, we do have to interact with people, especially those that are close to us in relationship that we might live with, or parents or grandparents who are at different places. So for myself, I know that my biggie is really just honoring like where I'm at, and just also honoring where, like my mom or other people that are close to me, where they're at and what they've put together for themselves to get to where they're at right now, because we're all unique people, experiencing unique souls, having these amazing experiences and trying to, like you said, better yourself and really get to a place where I feel secure with who I am, how I'm walking around the planet, and what I want to do while I'm here.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is as those shifts have occurred in my life at different stages and phases, uh, sooner or later there's a point where I know that I know. And when I have
Mhm.
that feeling secure, if somebody's encroaching on my boundaries and I'm actually feel that I know that and I'm very relaxed about it, they begin to change because they I don't allow them to do that anymore. So sometimes for me, it's just been having that, at least in my experience, my version of working with this is just allowing myself to be clear. And I noticed that when I haven't communicated my boundaries clearly in the past, that the times that I start to communicate them can kind of come out rough and probably a little stronger than I even mean to communicate it. That's okay too, because I'm finally letting that dam burst. The next time I communicate will be smoother. And the more consistent I am with it, I really do those folks a favor because they're really looking for an example. They don't know how to break out of it themselves. And but they will. We lead by example. It's that's probably the one of the keys is we lead by example.
Right, and also that whatever we're feeling that resonates from us, and so those around us are feeling that. So I know for myself, and like back to that security and really being okay with where I'm at and where you might be at, listeners, in your journey and the people you're working with around you, is that knowing that it's all okay. There's nothing bad. There's not a good or a bad. It's just where we're all at. And I know lately too, I've been thinking a lot about the fact that there's so much going on the planet, and obviously the last few years, obviously all the time, right? I mean, if you look back at history, there's always been things going on. But knowing that I'm here right now to have this experience, and my soul put everything together to get me right here, right now. And that to me is when I think about that bigger picture spiritually, it's actually liberating. Going, my God, yes, I'm in this room, I'm sitting here with Tom, I'm on this podcast, I put everything together to be right here. So to me, that's a really big aspect of understanding your journey and being able to, like Tom says, create those boundaries for yourself and others with love. But knowing that, you know what, you're on a unique journey and you put so much together to be right here, right now.
One of the when people have breakthroughs in this area, one of the keys to really having those breakthroughs is to listen to my spiritual helpers because we all have a version of how we do it. Uh, there might be some people, for example, if I'm in business, I might be very clear about my boundaries. But when I get into my personal environment, I might allow my family to encroach because there's concepts about family, obligation or duty, or, we all have variations on these themes, these different concepts. Uh, what the way I do it is, and the way I live it, my guidance can give me insight into that. And they can also give me solutions. So I think the other thing to remember is we're all just practicing. And one of the key concepts that we work with in TNT SpiritWorks that we've had shared with us is that, and I really don't see this very many other places, is I'm already perfect. I'm just here on planet Earth unfolding new parts of me or new qualities or relearning something that's so that I have it more clear as I grow in my awareness. So you're just practicing, you're already perfect, and you're allow yourself to just unfold those qualities that you already have within. And you already are successful. You're here in the first place. You made it. You got organized as a soul to be here. So those are some of the ideas that help, myself.
Yeah, and so to piggyback on that, about especially the relationships and the people that we work with in our family or maybe in our business or in our social aspects too, is that we're all mirrors from one another. And I know that I've gone over this before in other episodes also, but it's so good to refresh it because the fact that what I'm resonating and putting out there, someone's mirroring it back to me. And I guess we can look at this in the bigger picture of like, what's going on in the world with leaders, with other people out there, whatever they're mirroring back to us. Sometimes it's not looking the prettiest picture, right? And it might even stimulate us inside, but they're mirroring something back in there that for myself, that I need to look at, because what I see in you, I have in me. And now this is a biggie, guys. So this is not a little concept. This is a really big one, but it's important as we move through our evolution and grow spiritually, is to understand that, yeah, like Tom's a mirror to me and I'm a mirror to Tom, and we definitely have our things we go through because we're two individual souls, and so is everyone else. So I know you have something you want to say on this one, right, Tom?
Well, yeah, that's true. And also knowing what someone's first gift is spiritually. In other words,
Mm.
what's that type of psychic perception that they work with. And we, when we're at our workshops and when we're at the fairs, we do readings to help people find out what their four gifts are and the order that they work with them. So if my first gift is the gift of vision, so I think in pictures, and you've probably heard me say that before. But when a visionary is out of balance, they have tendencies, for example, to want everything perfect, or they could become bitey with other people. Now, I remember, becoming aware of that through one of the courses that we offer, and I thought, oh, I'm not bitey. And then later, I was regrouping with my guidance, which is just a fancy way of saying, I was sitting there reflecting, and I asked my guidance, well, which one do I do? And they told me bitey. They gave me that number on the list of the couple of the key things. And all of a sudden, what came to mind was times when I get a little bitey. And I never really thought of that as being bitey, but I've noticed that I can do that. So it might not be exactly the way I would have described bitey, or I would say how someone else does it, but I have my own version of it. So lately, one of the one of the breakthroughs I've been making is just realizing that I don't have to get bitey. That's not helping anything. My solution is to just tune back into how can I be of service, if I can even be of service in the situation, because it might not even be my opportunity.
I love the fact that you brought up our psychic perceptions and the session that we do offer, like you said, at our fairs, expos, and also we do them online too for our clients. And in understanding these four aspects of our psychic perceptions and what we are, like Tom's mentioning about being a visionary, being that's his first gift of perception. My first gift is being what we call an intuitive, which is someone that's clairaudient. And so, being talking about out of balance and imbalance, when I'm out of balance, I can be a control freak. I want everything my way. Hey, don't stop, don't laugh, Tom. I guess he's gonna. You can confer that. Is that right? You confirm? Yes, Trish does get like that. And throughout the years, I mean, my whole life I've been like this. And so sometimes it's, people say, well, she can be a little biatch, right? Or I'm also a Leo. So that's another aspect of, I've got strength in me. I'm a Leo. I'm, assertive. But no, it can be out of control. I'm just wanting to control everything. And like Tom said, for myself, I find that these days, when I get that way, I'm not doing myself any favor, and I'm not doing Tom or anyone else I'm working with a favor. It's like it's making things worse. So it's really tuning in and understanding through, like I said, through one of the sessions we offer, which we share with you what is your gift order. And that's important because understanding that my first gift is intuition. His first gift is visionary. Your first gift may be prophecy or maybe a feeling. There's a certain way you communicate and the certain way you move through your life through that gift that really helps you understand who you are as a soul and how you work at a deeper level.
Yeah, and it's all about being in balance. And being in balance, when we talk about that, we mean with our thoughts and our feelings, or our true feelings is what we're talking about. So you've heard me say this before. Our true feelings are not our emotions. Emotions are almost the programmed ways that we're taught to feel about things or express what we're feeling. So it's legit to be angry about something if somebody's stepping on your toes or stepping across your boundaries, and it's legit to be able to communicate that, in a clear manner. um, Being spiritual is not all being lovey-dovey, airy-fairy. It's being real in the real world and making it practical, but finding that power within to be respectful, to be loving, to be clear with people, and to move forward and forge ahead. Planet Earth is a great school for that. And yet we've got many levels of consciousness. I've often said it, not just a few, not just three or four or five or six or seven, but probably hundreds. You could check with your own guidance, those of you know how to work with your guidance, and just ask, what are some of the numbers that you run across? So having that understanding is, and that picture allows me to accept what I'm going through better. But here's the good news: you can navigate, you can circumnavigate, you can move through it. You can move through the gauntlet of life's experiences, as long as you trust yourself and your sensitivity. And the more that I do that, because all of us are kind of trained away from that, at least within the system that we grew up in. Uh, and so sometimes it's about rediscovering that, and then going back to that childhood feeling of, like, when I just was in the right place at the right time, when things fell into place and doors opened, and then there's other times in life where it doesn't seem to happen. One thing I wanted to say about, being when Teresa's not a control freak unless she's a little bit out of balance.
A little bit.
So she's
Just a
either
little
her
bit.
intellect, she's overthinking, or she's under organized. And so we can all do that at one time or another. But my point is the wear and tear is more on her than anybody else when she's in that mode. In other words, she's more stressed out than she's going to feel that physically. And so there's an idea there too. But I didn't want to get too deep into all this, but just share that the solutions are beginning to work with my sensitivity. So there's a lot of talk about ESP and psychic, and there's lots of fancy words for spiritual things. In fact, one of the things that's been on my mind is how everyone seems to create their own language for the same thing. And we can even say that, psychologists talk about similar things that we talk about, and they have psychological language. Or some of the religions, I was raised Catholic, say similar things, but they have a religious language to it. Really, spiritually, there is no dogma or theology. That's kind of over organizing an impression. My sensitivity, or this psychic part, or this mystical thing, they're great words to use to catch people's attention. And in a sense, they're mystical because we've covered it up. But really, all we're talking about with being psychic is, and here's the one thing I really wanted to share, was I'm just talking about my sensitivity as a soul, as you will, a light being, as an energy being. Don't ask me all the ins and outs about that, but this, in our true feelings, we already know that. So a lot of what we share, people often resonate with because they go, I have a feeling for that, which is that's when you buy something. When you really feel it, you buy it.
That's that gut feeling, right? Like, I know it. This is truth for me.
Yeah, it's truth for me, or I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
So we love to use those words, mystical, psychic, and all that sort of thing, alchemy, and this and that and the other. But really, we're just talking about your sensitivity as a soul, that there is something more than what you see in this physical body, and what a great opportunity to be in a physical body on planet Earth at this particular time. And I know that many people might say, wow, it's a challenging time right now. Believe me, I'm aware of that. However, the only way I can move through this is if I focus on what am I gaining out of this spiritually. So in other words, if I'm focusing on the breakthroughs I'm personally making, like I'm beginning to be clear about my boundaries. I'm beginning to be, what was the other thing I was sharing about earlier that I was discovering? Oh, I don't need to be so bitey. That seemed like a cool idea when I used to do it, but really, I'm not helping my situation. I'm not leading myself and others through that challenge when I get that way, because it really comes down to the service. And I think that probably my final point would be there's hope. I mean, there's hope for all of us. Uh, we don't die. We never have died. We never will die. Now, there's a plethora of YouTube videos on people having after
Near
near
death
death
experience. Yeah.
experiences and pre remembering and all this kind of thing. And many of these things that people share are available to everybody. But then at the end of the day, with that information that I don't die, then how am I going to make the best of what I'm doing here? So there you go.
There you go, folks. What's up spiritually?
Yeah, what's up spiritually?
What's up spiritually is we all need to work on just keeping our energy intact, our boundaries. Really what came to me as you're saying it right now too is giving ourselves a break. Damn, we're hard on ourselves, everybody. I don't know how you're feeling about your journey, but I know for myself, throughout my life, I've been probably the hardest on me and where I'm at when it's like, no, this is a great journey. I'm doing the best I can, and as well as everyone else is. And keeping that perspective for myself has given me really the freedom. And that's one thing I want to just mention too, the spiritual freedom of just knowing that, yeah, like Tom's saying, we're all soul, we're all moving through this journey. We're here for a short period of time, and we're moving out. And just getting that feeling that everything is going to be okay because there's no death. We're just moving through what we're doing here at the moment.
Yeah, so the next step is, now that you're aware of that, how are you going to make that practical? Now that you know that you're psychic and you have premonitions or that you have visions, how do you make that practical? And how do you feel good, or how are you mostly happy, mostly enthusiastic about what you're going through? I know for me that when I discovered how sensitive I was, and how to work with my spiritual helpers, those are those souls that are 100% positive, have mastered the planet Earth, and they're really just there to be of service. And of course, we were raised with angels being Catholic, and um, the word for angel really just is a word for messenger, of God, or messenger of spirit. So there's solutions. The universe is actually, in my view, in my feelings, a pretty benevolent place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to get back to that feeling, but it's okay to get a shot in the arm once spiritually, or if you go to the doctor, you might need some medicine, or you might need them to fix your broken leg or something. That's all good. But, you know, uh, spiritual growth is this ongoing unfoldment. And if you want to get involved in going beyond just becoming aware of your ESP and aware of your spiritual guides, and then how do I make that communication better and clearer and more practical? We're going to be at a number of places through the coming year. And some of the upcoming events are, Teresa?
We're going to actually be in Oldwine, Iowa, April 21st at doing our Naturally Psychic workshop, which is a 2-hour amazing workshop that tunes into all of these 4 psychic perceptions, and we do techniques, and it's a wonderful way to come together and really tune into, wow, you know what? I do have this awareness within me. And there's no woo-woo. It's just really like-minded people coming together, sharing, and it's an amazing event. Then on the 22nd, we're doing an Earth Day event, actually in Oldwine, Iowa still, with Vibes Up Heartland, who's sponsoring it. That's going to be an amazing day of coming together with other, again, like-minded people and sharing. And we'll be doing the Iowa Metaphysical Fair, May 21st and 20th and 21st. Mystic Fest in Omaha, June 3rd and 4th. Metacon in Kansas City, July 14th through 16th. And the Kansas Convention, also in Kansas City, August 25th through 27th. And these are some of the events you can come to where we're offering short readings about your psychic perceptions, tuning into those 4 gifts, and we share with you what your gift order is. Also, it's a way to come in. If you do that one, you also can do another short reading with us, which is about finding out how many spiritual helpers you have this lifetime. And in the midst of all these, also we'll be doing classes and other events. You can also definitely check out TNTSpiritWorks.com, the events page, and that'll tell you where we're at beyond here, because this is just the next few months. We'll be going a lot of other places this year too. And is there anything you want to share about that, Tom?
Yeah, we're get in the works to go back to Australia for a visit. Teresa's finishing up a book that's going to be published in a few months. And we got a lot happening at TNT SpiritWorks. You know, my mission is to just pass along tools and techniques to help others become their own best guru or their own best psychic. Now, we all need a little, we need to share with each other, just like Teresa and I are sharing with you, and we share with each other, because it helps me learn or reflect upon what I'm learning and what I'm putting together. And once in a while, a penny drops at something Teresa shares or someone in one of our courses shares. I go, that's how I do it too. I want to release that, you know. So there's a lot of power in coming together. There's a lot of healing power. So, but if you want this to be an ongoing thing in your life so that you can really continually make it practical, because there's always new challenges. I mean, I don't want to list all the challenges that are in the news today, but you know, every week there's something new. So,
Right.
And
it's never ending.
in my 60s, I have to tell you, it's always been like that. You know, I wish we've had, there's always been something going on, like Rosanna Dana's mother used to say, it's always something.
That's so funny. SNL. How about any
what's
SNL
up with
fans?
that spiritually? So what's up with that?
Exactly. So we hope that you received a couple gems for your journey today from What's Up Spiritually with TNT SpiritWorks for this month. And we're so happy that you're here, and wherever you're at in the world, thank you for listening in. Please make sure that you do hit subscribe. Please share this with your friends and family. If you know someone that might be interested to hear a little insight about who they are, what their psychic perceptions are about, or their spiritual helpers, or learning about boundaries and where they're at energetically. Also, make sure, if you'd like to, please make sure that you comment on the episode, how you liked it, any episodes you might like to see in the future, any topics you'd like us to share on. And until anything else you want to share, Tom?
Yeah, and we've got a pod inbox set up for the podcast. So if you'd like to ask us a question directly and communicate directly, that's a great way to do it. And if you'd like to help support it, you know, there's some great merch that you can get. I love this cup that Teresa had created. It's called I Love ESP. And of course, there's a dual meaning there. Enthusiastically Spiritual Podcast, as well as your own ESP. So there you go. This is cool. People buy this one. This is a great one. And we've got a few versions of it.
And that's on TNTSpiritWorks.com in our merch shop. Yeah, we've got a lot of cool merch there. So
yeah, to remind you to trust your sensitivity.
There you go.
The other thing I wanted to announce was that look for my videos on YouTube. I'm going to be doing episodes about the spiritual businessman and how to make this practical from that perspective. And
coming soon. So until next week, just remember that life is too short to not be enthusiastic about your
unique
journey.